tell I'm really prepared and really professional at this stuff when I can't even remember what the hell I'm meant to be recording. This is the Daily Freakout, another half hour or so of one man's attempt to monetize his own personality whilst talking about the current affairs and news items that are happening around the world with a background that even I'm getting bored of. I assume no one else is getting bored of the visual background because no one else is watching, but that's all right. Speaking of which, I posted a headlines today, and in less than half an hour, it's already gotten over 100 and something. That's not got charge on it. Awesome. It's already got over 100 and something views, whereas I posted one yesterday that still only has like 2 views. Now, I'm not saying people should follow me and should watch my stuff, because obviously if I'm not making quality stuff, they're not going to watch, and that's fine. I've got no problem with that. But I don't understand how one day I can do practically the same thing, and then the next day do something practically the exact same thing, and one person watches, another one doesn't. It makes you wonder if there is the algorithm or whatever the systems involved are controlling these social things that we do, so much so that you have to pay them in order to get somewhere. I've been tempted lately thinking that maybe I do want to pay for a little bit of the boost that you can get from these things, so that people will see more of my content and stuff like that, because I feel like it's most likely that they restrict it, and then when you give them a bit of money, they let it go wild or something like that. And it's kind of fair. I kind of get it. Like they're putting money into these apps and stuff like that. All the computers that are involved that have to hold these bits of information. But at the same time, I'd like it to be organic. I miss the days when social media felt more organic, and it felt like you were. It didn't feel like the corporation was showing you what they wanted you to see, and you were actually seeing what was happening and what people were doing, and all that kind of stuff. It just does it feel to those, if you're watching or listening or even commenting later in the fact, does it feel organic? Does social media feel like it's genuinely connecting with other people and other things like that? Like I recently on TikTok started following a lady up in, I think she's in Queensland somewhere, and she's just posting outfit looks and little comments and thoughts and stuff like that. And that genuinely feels like I'm actually getting a person, an actual person. I'm actually or not interacting, but I'm actually seeing what this person thinks and this person is doing in their life, as opposed to advertising and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, who knows what these things, how these things work, and how we get them, and whether we're getting a genuine version of it or not. That's just my thoughts for today, the start of today. I'm struggling with a bit of motivation today. I've taken the Australian equivalent of some Tylenol, and so I'm probably a little bit strange, a little bit weird. I'm. Is anyone else confused by this thing? Like, I don't agree. Obviously, I don't agree with what the American admin are saying, that Tylenol causes autism. I don't think that's the case. But I'm obviously no expert. I'm no scientist. I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But why is there so many different names for these things? I don't like. A long time ago, I got really anti the idea of brand names. Oh, pardon me. It's not a Kleenex. It's a tissue. It's not. It's not a Coke. It's a cola. Obviously, most of the time it is Coca-Cola, but you know what I mean. I don't like the fact that we use brand names that have become, and it's a thing, brand names that become a common name for things. And it's the same because I'm a pseudo amateur semi-professional gardener, and I like common name. I mean, not common names, botanical names in plants. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of one exactly, which is really annoying. And I actually had, oh, that reminds me, I had a segment planned for today of a plant of the week, but oh well, we'll do that tomorrow maybe. So professional. But the idea that using the botanical name And the real name for a plant, the Latin name as some people call it, I find that to be much better than using the common name or the popular name, because you go to another country and it's the exact same plant or a similar plant and you've got this weird name for it, and it's like, well, no, let's just call it the botanical name, because that's a better system where we actually know these things. And the same with everything else. I don't know. Ramble, 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 ramble. First thing we're going to talk about today, or not me. Funnily enough, as my memory slightly fades, why do some memories stick and some memories don't? Now, according to this article, which let me see if I can, how quickly I can bring it up. Oh, do I not have it here? No. Oh, no, there it is. Do, 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 do. Oh, wrong button. No. Nope. Nope. Oh my god. I'll label these better. Let's just have a little bit of incidental music whilst I try and find or get this article to come up. No, it's not going to come up. Awesome. This is so professional. It's probably better that nobody watches these. All the people on the TikTok are just coming on saying that it's absolute shit and then moving on. And that's pretty fair. But the headline is, oh, here it, oh, god damn it, it worked. A study published today in the Journal of Science Advances found that mundane memories get extra sticky power in the brain if they are connected to a significant event. These events include something surprising, rewarding, or events with an emotional punch, which is why you remember the breakup and not the good times, that kind of stuff. And it's really interesting, isn't it, the way that our brains remember big events and they don't remember the small things, the everyday thing. And you think about, like, I can't remember most of what happened yesterday. I can remember some parts of yesterday, and that will fade over time. But I can't remember most of what happened yesterday. I don't remember exactly how I felt when I woke up. I don't remember all this stuff. And I guess that's kind of a good thing. And then some people say, or some, I don't know what the word is, but people have, or I've read previously that we don't remember, we remember everything, but we can't recall certain things. So we can recall the way we felt at one time, and we can recall this and that, but we remember everything, and then some things we don't. For some reason, I can still remember the study/home office where I first made out with a girl. I can remember that, and it's because it's this event. We remember our first time. We remember our first partner, where we do these life events and things like that. I remember one time on school camp when we were doing rock climbing, and I had my hand, and then the rope went over my hand, and the guy who was doing teaching the rock climbing, who was belaying me and holding the rope and stuff at the top, was like, I can't do anything for you right now, mate. The way it's all set up, I can't do anything. You have to work it out for yourself. And I was able to, using both my hands, pull myself up a bit, get the slack in the rope, and then get my hand out, etc., etc. And I assume that was a character building moment where I learnt that I can pull myself up and fix my own problems and all that kind of stuff. And it was this great moment. And I remember it, but I don't remember anything before or after it. I don't remember that kind of stuff. And it's these strange things of why some of these memories, and as it said there, it's surprising, rewarding, or events with an emotional punch seem to be the ones that that really stick in our brains. Apparently, it's a very selective situation where it's not always it doesn't always work. In the new study, the team used the example of someone hiking through Yellowstone National Park and seeing a herd of bison walking along. They found that the wow of that moment does not just cement that one magical experience in the mind, but several small, more run-of-the-mill events leading up to and away from it, things like a rock that was on the path or a smaller animal in the grass. What is that? Sorry, let me reread that. They found that the wow of that moment does not just cement that one magical experience. Oh, it does the rest of them. Which reminds me of a time when I was hiking and those things, and a snake went across the path. Don't remember before or after that, but I remember the snake going across the path. Very, very interesting. Have you got what's a strange memory you've got that you're just like, why is that still in my head? And I personally, I would like some of the really emotional memories, the ones that really packed those emotional punches, as it were, to really just piss off. I'm really quite pleased with them to go away, because there are some of those memories where I'm just like, no, that's not. I don't need to remember that anymore. Come on, haven't I learnt my lesson or my experience from that moment? And why do I still remember that? I I'm thinking in particular of heartbreaks and things like that. I'm like, why am I still thinking about heartbreaks from when I was 18? I mean, it's it's just so pointless at this stage. But maybe it's not. Maybe I need to go to therapy and learn about how to deal with these things and move on. I don't know. We will see. Let's go to a news article that's a little bit worrying. And there's two. I've got two for this one, and it's so frustrating being in Australia and seeing so much American news. We talk about it a lot as us Australians because it's very frustrating and we don't really like it. It's tiring to see so much of what's going on in that one country. But the serious nature is that in that one country, serious things are happening that are going to affect the rest of the world, and potentially for a very long time. And it's a fascinating show, and it would just be a little bit better if some of those, or some of the effects of that experience that the Americans are having didn't affect us. And the thing that I find very interesting is this: fawning at MAGA senator pushes Trump to seek a legal third term. The system of the United States that you can only have two terms seems very sensible. It seems very logical. Um, and even though they have that whole two-party thing of like one left, one right, and we have that here in Australia, and I like the idea of not having parties and having more independent um, politicians in government. Even though it does seem like it would slow things down a fair bit, I like the idea of slowing government down a little bit. And as we've seen, I think in the last, what is it, 10 months, 8 months, whatever that we've had of America, I like the idea that the powers that they have would be slowed down a bit. And the idea that a leader that is not doing a great job by a lot of accounts, like a lot of people are suggesting that he's not doing a very good job. And even some of the people on his side that voted for him are suggesting that he's not doing a good job. The fact that then somebody who's also up in the positions of power is suggesting that he should continue on for longer. I mean, he's of an age and a health level that it's likely he won't make it to the end of his term. Yet some people want him to go even further. And the other interesting one, or article here, is Gavin Newsom in California thinks the same kind of thing might happen, but he's thinking of it from a completely different perspective. So there's a lot of people thinking that there's a chance that the American Republic has fallen or is falling, and that the dictatorship is coming. And that's quite worrying, because of the power that America has. I don't necessarily believe or agree with people that it's the greatest country on the planet or ever, but it's certainly one of the biggest, and it's certainly one of the most powerful. And it is very worrying, because what if he becomes complete dictator and says, yeah, we're just going to take Greenland? What if he says we're just going to take Canada? What if, because I don't think anyone can stop that. Apart from diplomatically, I don't think we can, any of us have the power to get in there and stop that. I obviously certainly don't. I'm just some idiot in Australia trying to make podcasts. But there isn't really another government or power out there that can stop that. And China and Russia, the next two biggest groups, are probably like, yeah, go for it. We don't care. Put the focus on you guys for once. Get off your high horse, America, and see what it's like. So it's very interesting and very worrying and very scary. It's such a cliche of, or not a cliche, but an unoriginal comment that this episode of, or this season of America is the most fascinating and interesting to watch because it looks like we're watching a downfall. And that's a shame because America has given us so much great stuff and continues to give us, the world, so much great stuff. There's no doubt, anyone who just says that America's... Like, I remember once I was watching the Ken Burns documentary about the jazz music, which I highly recommend if you've got the chance to see it. And the voiceover said that jazz was an American music. And my ex-partner scoffed. And I was like, I thought to myself, what are you scoffing about? It is an American music. Jazz is American. There's no doubt about that. A lot of great English and it becomes a worldwide phenomenon, but it is an American thing. So jazz in particular and modern music and art, we've got so much great things have come from the United States, but unfortunately so many bad things have also happened. And it looks like even worse things are to come. And it's very worrying, especially as a heathen atheist as myself who believes in treating everyone a bit nice and no kings. It's somewhat worrying to see that. But one thing that, well, not one thing, but speaking of American music, what a great segue there. I recently found a band called Wednesday. I feel like other people probably already know Wednesday, and I'm going to see if I can set this up very quickly so that I can actually play it. I think that worked. I hope that worked. They're a band called Wednesday. They had a new single called Townies come out just recently. But from what I've seen, they've actually been around for quite a while, and they've got quite a lot of material out there. So if you like this, then you should go check them out. We're going to play this one and see how it goes, and hopefully no copyright strikes or anything. Catching up with on the YouTubes and all that kind of stuff. Oh no, it's not playing. Is it? Townies, some have gone, but most are still around. The ghosts, them surround me, hang on tight until they drown. Met you in the neighborhood, you had connects to get us high, and then you sent the nudes around. I never yelled at you about it, 'cause you died. Went to a party in the county, stoking bonfires with leaf blowers. It got you in the back of his car, just your sneakers and the TikTok. No, I don't want that. So professional. Yesterday on the TikTok, I got told that I had used hate speech, and I think it was because I used the R word that sounds similar to grape. And it was funny because I used it in a context where I was talking about dolphins and the scientific fact that dolphins do that kind of stuff, and a lot of animals do that kind of stuff. And I don't know why, or it made me wonder, is this the kind of future we have where the context doesn't matter for these things? It's very, very interesting. I'm not a free speech kind of guy necessarily because I just haven't gotten into that kind of stuff. I like to be able to talk about the context. For me, it's just about context and stuff like that. But it's very interesting. I wonder if that was the case and whether I just ruined it by saying the other word now. Like ape. Or what's other words that end in APE? I can't think of any other words that start in APE. Grape. Ape. Sedate? No, that's a different word. Anyway, I'm going to call it there because it's going to be a short one today of utter professionality. I don't know. This is the Daily Freakout. I hope you've enjoyed somewhat of the show. Tell me what I can improve, i.e. everything. and I will see people in the future. Hopefully for another one of these, and we can maybe do a full week of them. Yeah. Oh, wrong button.